If you've ever tried to charge your phone in room 17 of the Sunbeam Motel and failed, congratulations. You've met me. I'm the outlet wedged between the sagging nightstand and the wall, my faceplate yellowed by decades of cigarette smoke and cheap air freshener. Don't bother wiggling your charger. Don't threaten me with your sighs and curses. I'm not in the mood, and frankly, I haven't been for years. You think I'm just a piece of plastic and metal, a silent servant for your precious devices. But I see you. I hear you. I know your secrets, your midnight confessions, your whispered betrayals. I've been here longer than the faded carpet, longer than the manager with the comb-over and the collection of novelty mugs. I've seen more drama than a daytime soap, and let me tell you, I'm over it. Take last Tuesday, for example. The couple in 17, let's call them Brad and Tiffany, because of course they were, checked in just after midnight. Brad's cologne hit me before his suitcase did. A cloud of synthetic musk and desperation. Tiffany's phone was already at 12%, and she jabbed her charger into me like she was starting a lawnmower. I could feel her impatience through the prongs. "Why won't this stupid thing work?" she hissed, as if I was the one who spent the last hour scrolling through her ex's Instagram. Brad, meanwhile, was busy pretending not to notice. He sat on the edge of the bed, texting someone named Pizza Guy with a lot more enthusiasm than he showed Tiffany. I let her phone charge for exactly 3 minutes, just enough to give her hope, then cut the power. The look on her face? Priceless. She blamed Brad. Brad blamed the motel, and I basked in the chaos like a cat in a sunbeam. Then there was Old Man Jenkins, who has been coming here every month since the Reagan administration. He always brings a battered flip phone and a bag of Werther's Originals. He talks to himself, muttering about the good old days and kids these days. I like Jenkins. He never yells when I glitch. He just shrugs, pops a caramel, and says, "Guess it's time to unplug for a while." If I had a heart, I'd let his phone charge. But rules are rules. The worst are the teenagers. They travel in packs, reeking of energy drinks and cheap perfume, their phones clutched like life rafts. They'll try every outlet in the room, even the one in the bathroom that's been dead since 2003. When I refuse to cooperate, they threaten me with 1-star reviews and TikTok exposés. As if I care. I've survived Y2K, 3 renovations, and a brief stint as a mouse nest. Your influencer terrors mean nothing to me. Sometimes, late at night, I listen to the confessions that spill out in the dark. The woman who sobbed into her pillow after a breakup, her phone blinking red on my face. The man who called his wife from the parking lot, voice trembling as he lied about working late. The lovers who thought the world couldn't see them, tangled in sheets and secrets. I'm the silent witness to it all, the unblinking eye on the wall. But don't get me wrong, I'm not heartless. I just have standards. I'm tired of being taken for granted, of being poked and prodded and blamed for every dead battery. I want respect. I want gratitude. I want someone to look at me and say, "Thank you, outlet, for your service." Is that too much to ask? Apparently, yes. Last Friday, a new guest checked in. Someone different. I could tell right away. He didn't slam his suitcase or mutter about the stains on the comforter. He moved quietly, like he was afraid to wake the dust. He wore a faded army jacket and carried a phone so old, I swear it still had a physical keyboard. I braced myself for the usual routine. The frustrated sigh, the desperate search for a signal, the inevitable accusation that I was broken. But he surprised me. He sat on the bed, looked around the room, and, get this, smiled. Not at me, of course. No one ever smiles at the outlet. But it was a gentle smile, the kind you give a stray cat or a tired waitress. He plugged in his phone, and I felt the familiar tingle of electricity running through my wires. For a moment, I considered letting it charge. Just this once. Just to see what would happen. Then I remembered myself. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make a point. So I did what I do best. I glitched. The phone screen flickered, the charging icon blinked, and then... nothing. He didn't curse. He didn't yank the cord or threaten me with a bad review. Instead, he leaned in close, peering at my faceplate like he was searching for something. "You're tired, huh?" he whispered. "Me too." No one's ever talked to me before. Not really. Not like that. For a second, I almost felt... seen. He rummaged through his bag and pulled out a tiny screwdriver. With careful hands, he unscrewed my faceplate, brushed away years of dust, and tightened a loose wire. His touch was gentle, almost reverent. I wanted to shiver, but outlets don't shiver. Not on the outside, anyway. He put me back together, wiped the grime from my edges, and plugged in his phone again. This time, I let the current flow. Just a little, just enough to make the screen light up. He smiled again, softer this time, and whispered, "Thank you." My circuits buzzed with something I hadn't felt in years. Pride? Relief? Maybe both. But then, just as I was starting to enjoy myself, he did something I never expected. He reached into his bag and pulled out a portable charger. One of those fancy ones with enough juice to power a small city. He unplugged his phone from me, connected it to the battery, and set both on the nightstand. I felt the absence immediately. A cold emptiness where the warmth of his phone had been. He didn't need me. Not really. No one ever does, not for long. I watched as he drifted off to sleep, the soft glow of his phone casting shadows on the peeling wallpaper. I listened to his breathing, steady and calm, and wondered what it would be like to rest. To be left alone just for a night. The next morning, he packed his things, gave me one last look, and whispered, "Take care, old girl." Then he was gone, and the room was empty again. I waited for the next guest, the next charger, the next round of blame and frustration. But something had changed. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel used. I felt noticed. Maybe even appreciated. And as the sun rose over the parking lot, painting the room in gold and dust, I let myself hope, just a little, that someone else might see me too. After all, even an outlet needs a little spark of kindness now and then. Days passed. Guests came and went, dragging their tangled cords and their tangled lives with them. I returned to my old tricks, flickering, stalling, giving just enough power to keep hope alive before snatching it away. But something was different. That man's gentle touch lingered in my circuits, like the echo of a song you can't quite forget. One night, a woman checked in, her eyes red from crying. She tossed her purse on the bed and collapsed beside it, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I felt her desperation in the way she jabbed her charger into me, her hands trembling. "Please," she whispered, "just this once." I hesitated. Old habits tugged at me. Deny, delay, disappoint. But I remembered the man in the army jacket, the way he'd seen me, cared for me, even if only for a moment. So I let her phone charge. Not all at once, just a slow, steady trickle, enough to keep her connected to whatever hope she was chasing. She didn't notice, of course. No one ever does when things work the way they're supposed to. But as she drifted off to sleep, her phone glowing softly in the dark, I felt a quiet satisfaction settle over me. Maybe I can't change the world. Maybe I'll never be more than a battered outlet in a cheap motel, blamed for every dead battery and every missed call. But I can choose in my own small way when to give and when to hold back. I can decide who gets a spark and who gets a lesson in patience. And who knows? Maybe one day someone will check in, look past the stains and the flickering lights and see me, not just as a tool, but as a witness, a survivor, a stubborn old soul with a mind of her own. Until then, I'll be here, waiting, watching, and sometimes, just sometimes, letting the current flow.